It's a red chokeberry. Can you see if it has a serrated leaf on it? Oh wait, don't turn around. Don't turn around.
Yeah, I got it.
We
I got it.
We got it.
I got it.
Don't. I have the camera on my boat.
It is serrated. It is serrated.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a little rough feeling
Okay.
or waxy.
Chokeberry.
I think it's chokeberry. Do you see how the leaves, how the berries are in kind of in packets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the chokeberry. And I was telling Glenn before, that's called chokeberry because it's birds prefer it least. So they'll go for everything else first. That's a button bush
Can you
that's in your hand.
can you keep me here for a second while
Sure.
I take a picture of it? Thank
So it's called chokeberry because wildlife likes it least. It doesn't have a lot of meat on that berry.
you. Right. So that's their last go-to meal.
That's their last go-to,
When
but it's
everything
great
is
to put in
gone.
your lawn or in your landscaping because it's a fantastic late season, late winter
and it flames.
source
It
of
flames.
sustenance for, and oh, it's gorgeous, and you get that early bloom on it.
I mean, it's gonna be like it's all gonna be this
Yeah.
in a couple of short weeks.
And some of
Oh,
our,
it gets a beautiful color on it.
yeah, and we got the sweet pepper bush here, which is one of our favorite.
Is it too shallow? I thought the tide was high enough to get us in there.
I don't think so.
Hi,
Unless I take my shoes off and we go up in there.
Look, the sun is coming out.
You want
I
to
can
go up
pull
in
you.
there?
I can pull you.
It's a little shallow.
It's shallow.
I can take my shoes off.
No, I could take my shoes off.
Well, we're pretty protected from wind here, aren't we?
I'm just gonna get that.
So, I grew up right here.
Ah, now you've got a lot of.
Yeah. I didn't grow up. When we moved back from Germany, my mother lived upstream from here. And we would come down here and play in the stream. I was in high school. Yes, we played in the stream. So,
Dying to get.
you might want to just do it right underneath the willow tree.
Yeah, it looks like it's
nice
good
right
right
here.
there.
Can I take my thing off now? I won't. I promise I won't drown in 4 inches of water. Tell us a little bit about this book before I read it.
So that book is a very special book in our house. My daughter and I used to read that book together just about every night. So we always read 3 books. One of the books would be Pond Year. And so she had to do when the schools shut down for COVID-19. Everything, we had to do everything as homework. And one of the assignments that we had is that we had to do virtual book reports. So she would read that, and we put a log out in the yard, and she sat down and she started giving her book report. And Daddy came out with a shovel and walked up behind her and started digging a pond, and that was our Corona project. And so here she was sitting there giving her book report. Daddy was making a wildlife pond, and that pond during Corona, it just filled our backyard with so much life between the tadpoles and the frogs, and she would go out and count them. And then we had, new flowers blooming in the yard. We had dragonflies now, birds taking baths in the beach of the wildlife pond. And it was just this source of entertainment for us during the shutdown. And I think one of the gifts that CU has given my family, from a personal perspective, an individual perspective, is it creates this forum for different generations to interact. And the book Pond Year was given to her by CU Maurice River trustee Leslie Ficalia. And, I can't tell you how many nights I've read that book. It just really inspired us. And then after we built the pond, my daughter told Sue Finelli, who's also a trustee, about her experience with Pond Year. And she lent Sue Finelli this book. And then Sue Finelli would call her and read her a page or a couple pages of the book at nighttime before she went to bed. And so it's this shared interest of nature and this interconnection between the different generations, and one generation handing down their love of nature to the next generation. And I just, I feel like I'm standing between my daughter's generation and many of the people or some of the people at CU who just really care and just really want to share. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing that book on you, but I just think
You pushed
I
it
didn't-
once, just once.
I know, just once.
You didn't have to push it. I was
And
like,
it worked.
pond deer,
But-
I'm in.
It is just such a fantastic book about two young girls who have something in common, and it's a pond behind their house. And it's about how they find friendship in a natural setting and all of the experiences that they have in different stations of the year. And
All right.
with that, enjoy.
Pond Deer by Catherine Lasky, illustrated by Mike Bostock, and it's to Carol, wherever you are, and for my mother. Aww. There's a pond out back and down the hill from our house. It's too shallow and mucky to swim in. And in August, it smells like an old wet mop. But my best friend Carol and I like to play there every day all year round. In April, we gather twigs and build little rafts. Sometimes we stick leaves on for sails and have races. There's nothing like a good pond, I tell you. In May, we start looking for frogs' eggs. They float in clumps near the surface like clear beads of jelly. If you see the black dots, you know for sure that frogs have started to grow. We take our nets and put the eggs in an old punch bowl with a lot of pond water. They grow a little bit and change shape, and in 7 days you can see their heads and tails. And in 10 days, when the jelly beads are very soft, the first tadpoles squirm out. We take the punch bowl down to the pond and let them go. You're free, you're free. They swim to rest near leaves or just under the fluffy pond scum, algae that grows like a green water carpet over the pond. Pond scum keeps things warm and wet and gives creatures a safe place to live. So, don't call people pond scum if you want to insult them, because it's not an insult. In June, when the water is warmer, we might sneak a wade. We don't call it wading, though. We call it dipping. We dip in our feet, and the water, all silty with swirled out mud, leaves tan socks on them. If we dip up to our thighs, it looks like silk stockings, the kind our mothers wear when they dress up. When we get tired of putting on our mud silk, we just stand still, letting the oozy bottom gush between our toes, and we look for our tadpoles. Ooh, like a little gushing. I'm gushing a little. We spot one. Through its transparent skin, you can see its front frog legs all folded up, almost ready to spring out. It's a little cold for gushing, but I'm a polar bear, so it doesn't matter. Sometimes we dip around to the darkest, muckiest corner of the pond to look for its yellow secret on the bank where the woods begin. The secret is lady slippers, a wildflower shaped like a lady's shoe. It is a rare flower, my mom says. It's so rare, she says it might disappear and never grow again. Grow, lady slipper, grow. By July, one end of the pond is thick with algae and buzzing with damselflies, and the tadpoles are finally frogs. Their tails are gone. They sit like little statues on rocks or wait for flies underwater with their eyes bulging up just above the surface. Carol and I go looking for crawdaddies or crayfish. They have lots of legs, so they're very good at moving around. We have contests to see who can catch the most crawdaddies. I once caught 24 in one morning. We build a little mudslide for them and let them have races on it. Then we put them back in the pond. It's good for the crawdads. We like mud and we like scum. We scoop the mud and we make mud cookies for our mud bakery. Did you ever do that when you were a kid? I was a mud baker supreme. We skim the scum with our nets and then we pick out little bugs to set them out to dry. One day we made green wigs for all of our old bald-headed dolls. Another time we twisted the dried scum into thin strands and braided friendship rings for each other and promised to be best friends, pond buddies, scum chums, forever. Scum chums.
You're my scum chum.
My scum chum. By August, the scum is so thick it clogs one end of the pond. At the other end are water lilies, and in between there's almost every kind of water bug you can think of. There are the dark gray water boatmen that paddle with their feet, and the water striders that skim across the top and never break the surface. There are dragonflies and damselflies with transparent wings that flash in the sunlight. We collect all the dead bugs and look at them with our magnifying glasses. You can see the water boatman's flat, stick-out feet and the scales of the dragonfly's wings. Up close, bug parts are amazing and special, just right for each bug. Nature and evolution know what they're doing. In a sunny patch of water near the bank, the salamanders nestle in the ooze. There are orange ones and dark brown ones. I love salamanders. We catch them and let them crawl up our legs in scrolly, bright designs. Then we wear them when we go dipping, and they swim right off. Slippy little slidey salamanders with their scrolly tails. In September, the muskrats that live in the holes on the banks get busy fixing their nests for winter. We have never seen a muskrat, but my father has. They're very shy. He says you have to come at night and be very patient. You cannot be wiggly little girls. One night when the moon is full and the pond is like a silvery mirror, he takes us out to wait for muskrat. We wear our pond buddy rings and swear to be quiet and patient, but it's hard. I hear wind in the trees and a bullfrog croak, and I hear my own breathing. I even hear my heart beating. Carol and I both start to wiggle. We wait and wait. It seems like an hour, but my dad whispers, "It's only been 8 minutes." Finally, we give up. We both got 10 million itches and little coughs scratching our throat, so I guess everybody on Earth will have seen a muskrat except for us. My dad says we'll try again next year. Next year will be 7. The days grow shorter and colder. The pond scum shrinks up until it's just a little patch in the corner. Early in the morning and again in the late afternoon, thin scarves of mist rise up from the still black water of the pond. The frogs and the salamanders grow slow and burrow into the quiet mud for the long winter sleep. What? The dragonflies and the damselflies have died long ago. Their eggs have hatched into nymphs, young insects without wings that dig down under the rocks and sticks of the pond bottom. By November, the scum is gone. The pond is a black mirror. We can see our faces in its surface. We can see the color of our eyes in its blackness. We can count our teeth and wiggle our noses without a ripple to wrinkle our reflections. We are so quiet and so still, but no muskrats come. One morning in December, there is ice, thin as a dragonfly's wing. In January, the ice is thick and we go skating with my mom and dad and Carol's mom. I skate a loopy figure 8 and think about the salamanders frozen in their sleep, the groggy frogs all cozy in the mud until spring, the dragonfly nymphs wingless in the ooze without a thought of flight. In February, the ice begins to melt. In March, we make a tiny raft from twigs and count the days until frogs' eggs and lady slippers, pond scum and mud silk. And soon summer will come and the algae will grow thick. We start wishing our muskrat wishes. We promise never to go alone to wait for them. We will always go together and we'll try to be quiet. We'll try not to itch and we'll try to be patient. After all, we are pond buddies and scum chums forever. There was a dragonfly, but we can't catch all the action.
No.
Yay, was that a good book? Let's hear it for that book! That was the best book ever!
We love the pond.
Pond Scum sounds like a punk band.
Yeah.
Scum chums.
Wonderful.
That is my favoriteest book.
Thank you so much, Carla. This is a wonderful book. I'm so happy to be able to read out in this beautiful spot. It's just, it's doing wonders for me, I tell you.
Yeah.
So please stay tuned for some really more exciting stuff, whether it's a craft, more stories, or some more conversation with our wonderful friends out here in nature. Thanks for tuning in. Hey folks, what's happening? How are all my friends out there in TV land. I hope you had fun today. I hope you enjoyed the stories and you enjoyed the wonderful pond that we went on. And big shouts out to CU Maurice River and our friend Carla for having us out on Menantico Ponds. It was so wonderful to be outside in the fresh air on the water. And wow, what a wonderful time we had. So let's see. What we're going to do today is I'm going to help you make a tree because you saw all those trees down there at the pond, right? And the trees are what make the whole habitat even better because they provide oxygen and food and places for critters to live and shade and beauty for our eyeballs. Trees are just amazing creatures. So what I did was I started with, yes, that's right, you guessed it, a toilet paper roll. Dun, dun, dun. And I painted it brown. Isn't that cool? And I'm going to take this brown Sharpie and I'm going to make just a couple of lines in it to make it look like bark. You could go crazy. Do whatever you want. Whatever looks good to you. Just to give it a little texture and interest to your eyes. There is your tree trunk. The trunk of the tree that supports the whole operation. And what I did was I cut out a piece of construction paper to represent the leaves and everything, but we're going to do that, but we're going to do it a little bit smaller because it started falling over. So I'm going to take a piece of construction paper and fold it in half. Then I'm going to come in with the Sharpie. Actually, I'm going to do it with the crayon because the Sharpie's smell is just a little too strong for me. We're going to come in with the crayon. And and the reason why I folded it over is because we're going to do one side and then cut it. And then when you open it up, it's going to be the same on both sides instead of trying to draw it freehand. Because sometimes I do one side really well and then the other side, it looks a little wonky. So I like that trick of being able to fold over a piece of paper and then cut that out. So we're going to come out just like that. Oh yeah, maybe one more up here. Okay. And then just cut along the lines. Because we can fold it over and you won't see the crayon mark. We're cutting our tree. Hopefully not cutting it down. We're cutting it out. Yeah, there you go. Trees are wonderful creatures. I really love them. I actually call some trees that I've met on this planet my friends. Because they are awesome. And they're very smart. They're a lot smarter than we give them credit for. They just exist at a different level, if you know what I mean. Is that a little too esoteric for you? Oh, wow, that's kind of big towards the bottom. I think I like it, though, because you know what? We're going to stick it down into the toilet paper roll as the trunk. All right, let's see. Get that stuff out of the way. So what I did was I cut the toilet paper roll down on opposite sides, right across from each other, about halfway down. So I went like this. And I kind of looked on the other side and I cut about the same halfway down. You can measure it a little bit longer maybe. Right? But for ours, what we're going to do is we're going to slip the tree in here, right into the place where we cut it. And the trunk is holding up the tree. What do you think about that? Now you could draw on your tree. You know, you can make it look a little more interesting. So it's not just a blank piece of paper. Make it look like it has different branches and boughs. That's pretty cool, huh? But if you want to, you could take this out and you could put in another tree. And I think what we're going to do with this one is I'm just going to do like this, because we have trees of many different shapes and sizes, right? So we'll do this one. And this could be a tree that has leaves instead of needles, like an oak tree or an elm tree or a maple tree. Just draw wavy lines and then follow the wavy lines, the wiggly lines. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because it actually looks more interesting when it looks a little... You could wiggle the bottom too, but not too much, because that's where we're going to stick it in the toilet paper roll. I mean the trunk. So here you can take your trunk back and you can put this tree top in. And you don't have to put it all the way down if you don't want to. And look, there's another tree. How cool is that? If you want to, on this one, you could go up with boughs like that. Kind of like the veins that you might see in a leaf. Just so it looks a little bit more tree-like. And you can put that back on your trunk. Or if you want to take another toilet paper roll and not cut it down so far. You know, just imagine that this was painted brown already. And you only cut it down maybe like an inch, inch and a half. And then you can slip your tree top in there. So it looks like that. Right? And then you can have your pine tree over here. And you could slowly build your whole forest of trees. Yay! What do you think about that? I personally love trees. Even though I'm a swan and I hang out in the water most of the time, I do fly around and I enjoy trees very much. And these are exceptional trees. Well, thank you, Swan. I really appreciate your opinion there, because, you know, you are a beautiful bird and you know better than me. So here are your trees. I hope you enjoyed making them. They're fun. They're easy. You could put them around your room. You can give them away as presents. You could do whatever you want with them. You could decorate them differently than I did. But whatever you do, I hope you have fun and enjoy and get out in nature and take a walk and go hug a real tree. Go look at a real tree. Thank you so much for crafting with us today. I hope you enjoyed your stories and your visit out to the pond. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep watching. Next week we'll have something really exciting for you. Thank you so much and stay safe, everybody.